Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to a brand new league racing video on F1 2021. We're back with WOR around Portugal. As you guys might know, we recently joined this league as PSGL stopped because of the F1 esports season, but I wanted to keep doing league racing. So we're not really in a chance of winning the title because we started the season way too late compared to others. I think we basically started after 9 races. And the season is not 22 races like real life. It's only like 13, 14 races, I think so. So here are the standings currently. We have done 2 races so far where we finished P1 and P2, so that's why we're on 43 points. Jake Venom by far in the lead. On the right you can see the calendar we are doing. I think it has changed a little bit, as after Portugal, Imola will come. And then I think Jeddah will be replaced by Abu Dhabi, but I'm not sure. So we'll see, but next race will be Imola. Now you can see Jake Venom leading by quite a margin, so it looks like he's gonna walk away with his title. We're just gonna try and have fun, win as many races as possible. As you can see, we're currently out on the mediums in Q1, as I just want to get laps in. I didn't want to try and get into Q3 on the mediums. I didn't really feel comfortable with quali pace, so I felt it will be easier to get into Q3 on the softs and see if we can pull away at the start if we do manage to get pole. Now we're just gonna finish our first lap on the mediums. You can see a little bit of a wiggle through a long right-hander. I like to take the inside curve to take a shorter line to the finish, and we're gonna keep pushing on that second lap, and then I can always decide later on in that lap if I want to continue pushing or back off. First one was a 1:16.5. which I think is the fastest of the medium runners so far. A lot of people saving the mediums for Q2 probably, as they want to start the race on that compound. But we want to keep pushing on this set of tires and just get into a bit of a rhythm in this Q1 session. You can see now 200s up as we go into sector 2, 400s actually as we head up the hill here. I'm shifting to 6th gear, and then it's oh so tricky right-hander uphill, so the balance changes a lot to oversteer, but we managed to keep it stable on that exit. And now, as you can see in the bottom left, we've run out of ERS. As soon as you go below 10%, the power output goes down, and that's why we're slowly losing time on those straights. We invalidate this lap, so we're gonna come into the pits and bolt on a set of softs to get into Q2. Just finishing my out lap on this set of softs. You can see we're out very early, 3 minutes 30 to go, as we are starting our first push lap, and that's because I filled up for 2 laps in case I invalidate 1 lap. We can always go again, just to make sure we get into Q2. Opening our DRS on this very long straight into turn 1, downhill, before we go into turn 1 actually. Very nice downhill here, and then turn in at the 60-meter board down to 6th gear. We get the apex nicely, keep it in 6th gear and then go down to 3rd gear. Try to get good rotation around here because you want to have the car straight on this exit. And opening the DRS for the 2nd time this lap, we're 2 tenths up, 2.1 tenths up, and we go into the next hairpin. Track is still not very rubbered in, still very slippery, so conditions are going to change throughout this qualifying session for sure, and times are going to get faster through this session. Purple sector 1. Although I'm not sure if it's an actual purple, as in the game purple is a bit off, I feel like always. It's never really correct. Into next right, and very hard to get this one right as it's blind. When you get to pick your braking point, you can't see the apex yet, so it's very difficult to get it right. Down to 3rd gear, a bit of a moment through there. And then down to 4th gear, get that apex nicely, get a car rotated. On throttle, keep the rear end stable. Tires tend to overheat a little bit in that last right-hander, and then a short line to the finish off our lap around Portugal. 1:15.7, 4 thousandths behind Luke Smith, but that's going to be enough to get us into Q2. Now we're about to finish our first lap on a new set of soft tires. Sorry I didn't show the end screen of Q1 or the result screen. My game crashed in between sessions, so I didn't have any results recorded there. First lap finish 1:15.8, pretty poor to be honest. Wasn't a good lap. 1:15.8, probably not going to be enough to get into Q3 if a lot of people decide to go on the softs. So we're definitely not safe. We'll keep a close eye on what people are going to do tire-wise, because if everyone goes on the mediums, we will be safe. And then we can save an extra set of tires for Q3. So as you guys can see, I did decide to go out on another new set of soft compound tires, as I was not comfortable with that 115.8. So another new set, which means we only have one new set of soft compound tires for Q3 available. So that's not ideal, but it is what it is. We have to get into Q3 if we want to get pole position. You have to be in it to win it. And that's what we're going to try and do. Keep it in 6th gear and then down to 3rd. Once again for that right-hander. A little bit of understeer as a micro lock up into that right-hander. DRS open, but we are 1/10 up on our previous time. 21.574. 1.4 tenths up on Luke Smith, who is having a very solid qualifying so far. A P1 in Q1, and now he's P1 again. The reason I went out again on the soft tire was a lot of people were going out on softs. So I felt like if all those people improve, then we have a chance to get knocked out. I think a lot of people backed off because they really want to start on the mediums. Unlike us, we want to qualify on the softs in this Q2 session and try to pull away at the start. Very nice left-hander to there, 3.2 tenths up as we head into the final corner, down to 3rd gear this time, and short shifting to 5th. Now up to the line, it's going to be pretty interesting to see if it's going to put us P1. Jake Benham goes P1 with a 1:15.750, but we come across the line and we set a 1:15.516 to get P1 in Q2. But a lot of fast people on the mediums, as you can see there. Shanika Clay in P8 on the mediums, Louis Welch in P9 on the mediums, Dylan Warren in P10 on the mediums, Eduardo Leo I think also in the mediums. So as you can see here, Eduardo Leo indeed on the medium, just like Ulas Ozildirim. Pretty hard to pronounce that for a Dutchie. But very solid quali from him as well in P7, but he had a 5-place grid penalty. So if we do a decent Q3, then we will be ahead of him. People to watch are Eduardo Leo and Shanika Clay in Q3, because they seem to have pretty decent pace around here and are going to have a shot at pole position in Q3 for sure. We're now finishing off our first Q3 lap on a used set of tires up to the line. DRS open up to 8th gear. It's going to be a 1:15.551 on a used set of tires, which is very, very solid. Now for that final run we will have new tires, so that's going to be very interesting. Are we going to be able to improve a lot? In F1 Esports I had a few times where I was very, very fast on a used set of tires as well, and then did not manage to improve that much on a new set. So going to be interesting to see how much we can improve this time around on a new set of tires for sure. Now preparing our final Q3 lap, the lap that's going to decide pole position. We're behind Shanika Clay by around 400s, but he had a new set of tires, so that means we will have a little bit more pace to come on a new set of tires. Luke Smith goes P3 on his first push lap. I reckon that's going to be his only push lap. We're going to be starting our lap right here, right now, into turn 1. Braking point is going to be slightly late for a new set of tires. Track evolution playing a part as well. Bit of a moment through there. We've lost 300s through turn 1 compared to our used set tires. Very poor sector 1 so far. Half a 10 down. On this exit we managed to get it back a little bit, but this is what I was talking about. I struggle on new set of tires compared to a used set of tires, which is bizarre because you should get a lot more pace on a new set of tires. Again, we clawed back a little bit through that hairpin, but not much. Through the next right-hander down to 3rd gear, short shifting to 5th, and now we're finally green for the first time in this lap. Up to 7th gear as we head into the next right-hander. Pick your braking point and then let it flow nicely. Bit of understeer. You could see minimum speed was compromised, so was the exit. I got a little bit of oversteer. 800s down on Shanika Clay, but can we pull it back in this final sector? Half a 10 top going into the final corner. Keep it in 4th gear. Try to get a car rotated, and then on that exit, a bit more stable than on a used tire run. Short line to the finish, and we're only 1/10 up, which is not going to be enough for pole position, and we stay P3 behind Eduardo Leo and Shanika Clay. We did manage to go purple last sector, but it's not enough for pole position. Can anyone else improve? Jake Benham, Simlab, Tom Martinez, Ruben Pedreno, Dylan Warren goes P4. But 2 tenths behind us. Jake Benham actually goes P4 now with a 1:15.536. But everyone behind there is probably not going to improve on us. So that means we're going to be starting P3 behind Eduardo Leo and Shanaka Clay. But they are both on the medium compound tires. As you can see here now, 500s behind Shanaka Clay and 1.700s behind Eduardo Leo. So very solid laps from both of them. Good job to them. You can see we lost so much time in sector 1. And then we had to claw it back all in the last sector. But it was not enough. So Jake Benham behind us on the softs as well. Dylan Warren on the mediums. Luke Smith on the softs as well. So bit of a mix starting tire wise. But now we're going to be lining up on the grid. Behind 2 medium runners. So start is going to be crucial. We need to get past them. In the first sector if we want to have a chance on winning this race, because if we stay behind too long, the advantage of the soft tires will decrease and then they will get us back later on in the race on that soft compound of tires when we're on the medium. So start is going to be crucial here around Portugal. Pretty long run into turn 1, so we have that advantage. We should have a little bit more grip off the line than those medium runners, but making up 2 positions at the start is never easy, no matter what tire you're starting on. But now, let's get into the race. 5 red lights, and away we go. Lights out, go fast, and off the line. Amazing start. Shanaka Clay defends pretty aggressively into turn 1. We go down the inside. We overshoot the corner a little bit, but we manage to get into P1, which is all we needed to do. I cover off the inside into turn 3, and now we just need to push as hard as we can to get out of the DRS from Shanaka Clay. We know he's really fast around. If you can see me, I'm trying to break the DRS straight away, or the slipstream, sorry, as we go into the next left-hander. Luke Smith up to P5, Eduardo Leo down to P4, and we have to push as hard as we can to get out of the DRS from Jake Benham as well, because if he stays within our DRS and Shanaka Clay just manages to stay within his DRS as well, then we're at serious danger later on in the race from the medium runners, because we cannot be pulling them along when we have a very fast pace on this soft compound tire. I reckon we will be able to pull away in the first 5 laps, but after that the medium tire will become equal pace-wise to the softs. We struggle with overheating issues a little bit more on the softs, so we need to manage that very wisely. Now into the final corner. Shanaka Clay within 1 second as he's using up that battery, but I decided to not use it on his exit. I used already a lot early on in the lap, so just gonna have to wait. I like to use it out of the hairpin, first corner of sector 2, and on this left-hander exit that's coming up right here. Not sure if I'm gonna use it right here already, as Thomas Harvey has retired from the session. Purple sector 1, as we are the first one to complete a proper sector 1. But now on this exit, using the overtake button a little bit again, as this is where we can make up a lot of time with the overtake. Down to 4th gear. I like to use 4th gear in the race compared to a 3rd gear, as it creates a little bit of understeer on that oversteering corner. So yeah. Now 1.3 seconds to Shanaka Clay, and looks like we have managed to get out of his DRS, as we are almost finishing lap 2, which means DRS is going to be enabled at the end or at the start of next lap, and that's all we needed. It's going to be interesting to see if Jake Benham is going to try and get a move on Shanaka Clay with the help of DRS, but finishing our first proper lap now, a 1:18.871. Very solid. DRS enabled, as you can see in the top screen from race control. And Luke Smith up to P4 now, so Eduardo Leo down to P5. And I feel like the biggest threat in this race is going to be Shanaka Clay, as he is only 1.4 seconds behind on the mediums. It looks like we're not even gaining that much time, so yeah, we have to watch out for him later on in this race. As now we move on to the end of lap 11. The gap increased to 2 seconds at some point, but slowly over time the mediums of Shanaka Clay started to get faster. So I decided to push as hard as I could on this in lap. You can see we have no ERS remaining, as I'm going to be boxing this lap to try and cover off the undercut of Jake Benham and Luke Smith. Because lap 11 is a little bit early, but I really did not want to get people undercut me and get into the DRS, and then I will have to pull them along all race. I did not want that to happen, so decided to come in, cover off the undercut, and now have some new medium runner, which is going to be really fast compared to those old softs, as those old softs are going to be struggling with overheating issues compared to those new mediums. So we're going to be pushing really hard. You can see Jari fits with a 3-second penalty. We have to stay within the white lines on this exit. In F1 Esports we can just cross them, but in League Racing we have to stay within them. Now you can see 14.1 seconds is the gap to Jari Fitz, and over the next few laps that is going to decrease rapidly, because our pace on those mediums is going to be absolutely insane, which you will soon see. Or you can see we already gained 3 tenths just through the left-hander. Jari Fitz with the help of DRS of course, but still, those new medium tires are going to be rapid, but then in the end we're going to have to be very careful of Shanika Clay on those softs, because he's going to be rapid in the end. Light fuel with softer tires is usually faster than heavy fuel with soft tires, simply because of the overheating issues. So you can see we've already gained a second to Jari just on this lap. It's going to be interesting to see if any of the soft runners are boxing this lap as well. You can see Luke has come into the pits for new mediums as well. On this lap alone we've already gained 1.3 seconds to Jari, as Tom Martinez comes into the pits as well, Ruben Pedreno coming into the pits, and the Haas of Luke coming into the pits as well. Jake Benham staying out, trying to stay with Shanika Clay. Purple last sector. And now you can see how much we've undercut those soft runners just by pitting 1 lap earlier. As we go through turn 1, we can't see the delta yet, but the gap to Luke Smith is now well over 3 seconds. As we were 2.6 before, I think so? Not sure. But we've done a pretty good job at covering off anyone who was going to try and undercut us. Now we move on 1 lap later. Jake Benham coming into the pits as we come across the finish line. 118.138, 7 tenths faster than our previous lap. And you can see the gap we've pulled to Luke Smith, which just shows how good our race pace is on this medium tire. Jake Benham and Luke Smith coming out side by side, out on track, and they're battling side by side for the whole first sector. You can see they're losing time throughout this first sector, and this is just helping us more and more to extend our lead. Jake Benham was around 2 seconds behind us when we went into the pits, and now we are 4.5 seconds ahead. So our undercut has worked wonders so far, and now we just need to keep pushing as hard as we can to try and gain as much time as we can to Shanika Clay, who will be very, very fast in the end on that soft compound of tires. So we now move on to the end of lap 20. You can see in the bottom left that Aston Martin of Shanika Clay is coming into the box for a new set of soft tires, and it's going to be very interesting to see where he's going to come out.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option. Confirmed.
As Jeff is coming up with a useless strategy option once again. You can see we've managed to keep the gap to Jake Benham somewhat the same, even though we are having 2 lap older tires, 2 or 3 lap older tires. Shanika Clay 6.2 seconds behind us, with 3 seconds time penalties, but the track limits around this track are a bit edgy, so we kind of have to treat this like he doesn't have any penalties, because that penalty might get removed at the end of the race. So we just will try and keep pushing and stay in P1. But basically Shanika has to gain half a second per lap to us to catch up, which is not a lot, because he's on brand new softs and we're on those very old mediums. And yeah, you can see how easily we got past him at the start of the race, even though we were on used softs, which is a bit of a disadvantage. But yeah, we just have to keep pushing as hard as we can. Use our brilliant race pace we've shown in F1 Esports as well so far this season, and use that to the best of our ability. You can see we've gained a lot to Jake Benham on this lap. We've gained 4 tenths, and yeah, that just shows, even though we have all the tires, that our race pace is very good at the moment on this game. We now move on to the start of lap 28. You can see Shanika Clay and Eduardo Leo have both passed Jake Benham on those new softs. But you can see here, Shanika Clay just got 6 seconds of time penalties, and that is going to help us even farther in the race. We only gained 3 seconds in the past 7 laps, so that means we're basically going to be safe to the end of the race, as you need to make up ground fast on a new set of softs, as the advantage fades away pretty fast, especially after 7 or 8 laps. There's not going to be much advantage anymore. You see Jake Benham has dropped out of the DRS from Eduardo Leo now as well, so he might even drop down to P5, which shows that starting on softs to mediums was never easy pace wise, but we have managed to made it work with our race pace. Even in F1 Esports, our race pace around Portugal was very good. It's just quali pace where I was lacking mainly. But yeah, now we just have to bring it home and not make any major mistakes. We don't have any warnings so far, any track limit warnings, so we don't have to worry about penalties as well. We can just cruise home in P1. As you can see here, in the end, Shanika got the gap down to 1.6 seconds, but we managed to keep the lead. Just drive it home and get P1. One of my best races, I feel like, in league racing, as I just managed to be consistent in our race, have really good race pace, recovery of the undercut. Even though we pitted on a non-ideal lap, we managed to keep the tires nicely in check until the end. So very happy with that. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want to see more league racing content. I know it was not the most exciting races of the season, as we were just leading our race basically and had to manage the gap, which can be very hard, but hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless, and see you guys next time. Ciao!